Hey guys, it's Saga, and in this video, let us check out the long-term performance of this M1 MacBook Air and see why you should get it over the newly launched M2 MacBook Air. Now, I'm not just making this video based on its specs, I've actually been using this laptop for running my YouTube channel for the past 18 months. Yes, all the videos that you have seen on this channel since March of 2021 have been edited on this MacBook Air, and its specs might surprise some of you guys. This is a base variant, which means it just comes with 8GB of RAM, a 7-core GPU and 256GB of internal storage. And yes, I edited all my videos on this laptop. Even this video which you are watching right now is being edited on this very MacBook Air. Due to the rising prices of US dollars compared to the Indian rupee, this variant is now priced at 99,900 rupees instead of its launch price of 92,900. You can still get it at its original price with a few added offers on top at some of the retailers. I think this price point still makes it a much better value for money laptop compared to the base variant of the newer M2 MacBook Air. If you saw my unboxing video and its comparison with the 2019 16-inch MacBook Air which I had posted way back in 2021, you might know that I initially bought this laptop for my wife. We went with the base storage variant because she did not need the extra RAM or storage, and even the extra GPU core would have barely made any difference to her usage. All she wanted to do was some basic word processing, checking and replying to emails, working on Excel spreadsheets and browsing the web. I used it for the first 2 weeks to make a couple of videos about it, and I liked it so much that I ended keeping it for myself. I can't believe it has been 18 months since I got it. Prior to this, I was editing all my videos on the 2019 16-inch Intel MacBook Pro. I did a lot of tests between these two, and this MacBook Air was about a minute and a half or sometimes 2 minutes slower at exporting the same videos. But the overall process of editing the videos in Final Cut Pro was much smoother on this laptop. No matter how much I pushed it, it never got as hot or loud as the 16-inch Intel-based MacBook Pro. So I actually ended up selling that MacBook Pro shortly after I got this one. Now many people think that this M1 MacBook Air doesn't heat up at all, which is true to an extent. Like while performing normal day-to-day tasks, it just doesn't heat up or even get that warm. But if you push it hard enough for long enough, it does get pretty hot. And since there are no fans inside for cooling it down, the performance is throttled until it cools down a bit. It is still nowhere as hot as the Intel MacBooks, but you do feel the lower part of the laptop heating up. This happens every time when I am exporting a 12 to 15 minute long 4K video. It is not a huge deal, and I don't think this is a part of everyone's workflow. I just wanted you guys to know that this does happen if you put this laptop under tremendous load for a long time. I'm a huge fan of this gold color, and I also love the wedge-shaped design of this MacBook Air. It still carries over the traces of the first MacBook Air that Steve Jobs famously unveiled to the world. I'm not too impressed with the newer boxier design of the M2 MacBook Air. I love that design on the MacBook Pros, but not so much on the Air. Over the years, in my mind I have associated the MacBook Air name with tapering edge or a wedge-like design. The 2011 MacBook Air was my first Mac computer ever, and I used it for well over 3 years. So I might be a bit more inclined or biased towards the traditional wedge-shaped design of this M1 MacBook Air. I used this laptop for the last year and a half, and I think it has held up pretty well. The anodization did not chip off from anywhere like we have seen with some of the colors with the newer M2 MacBook Air. The body and the screen looks just the way it was when I first bought it, so you don't have to worry about the durability of this laptop. The keyboard did get a bit oily and soft, but that is just normal wear and tear because I have been using this laptop every day. Overall, I would say this M1 MacBook Air is very durable. My daily usage revolves around video editing, watching YouTube and Netflix videos, Zoom calls, FaceTime calls, scripting, editing thumbnails and a few photos, doing research for these videos and replying to email. Between scripting for videos and answering email, I feel like I am constantly typing on this laptop, and the keyboard is silent, soft and comfortable with sufficient key travel. Again, I came from the 2019 MacBook Pro, so this keyboard feels much better. If you are coming from a Windows laptop, you have absolutely no idea how good the trackpads on these MacBooks are. It is backed by a haptic motor which simulates a click, and the feedback intensity depends on how much harder you press on it. You can tap or touch or press on any of the corners and it just works. There are also a ton of gestures which again just work flawlessly. If you have never used a trackpad on a Mac before, you should definitely try it on one of your nearest Apple stores, just to see what you are missing on. I mentioned Zoom and FaceTime calls, so I think I should also tell you that the webcam on this laptop is not the best. It is just a 720p webcam, and I wish it came with a 1080p webcam so your video calls would have better quality and less noise. The microphone quality on the other hand is phenomenal. Now this webcam is not a huge deal breaker, just something that I noticed after taking and making video calls over the last year and a half. The speakers inside this tiny body sound surprisingly deep and loud for their size. Take any Windows laptop, and I mean any, and the speakers on this MacBook Air can put those to shame with its crystal clear audio quality. If you don't want to blast audio via the built-in stereo speakers, Fortunately, you still get a 3.5mm headphone jack on the right side, so you can use any headphones of your choice with this computer. When I'm not editing videos and just using it as a normal laptop, the battery lasts for about 2 days. And yes, I am not exaggerating, it is that efficient for everyday tasks. The brightness on my display is always set between 50 to 60% no matter what I am doing on my laptop. When I am editing videos, the battery on it still lasts for over 4 or 4.5 hours with an external drive or SSD always connected. I would call this very impressive battery backup, and due to all of these things, I am extremely happy with this MacBook Air. And yeah, the performance that you get stays the same whether you are connected to a charger or using it on batteries. After 265 charge cycles, the battery health has come down to 91% in the last 18 months, which is absolutely normal. If I was not editing videos on this machine, I wouldn't have charged it too often and the health could have been close to 95%. According to Apple, the battery health of above 80% in 2 years is absolutely normal. Even with the health at 91%, I don't feel like the battery backup has been reduced by a large extent. Now, I won't say that you should get this laptop for the sole purpose of editing videos. But if you are planning on getting this MacBook Air anyways, you should know that it is more than capable of handling some heavy video editing. I have been using it to edit all my videos for the last year and a half, and if you guys don't know, then all of my videos are shot in 4K. The footage is 10-bit 4:2 from Sony a7S III, and over the time, my videos have got longer and longer, and some of them even have been well over 20 minutes. I also apply color correction and grading to my footage, and I also regularly use motion track text effects in these videos. All of this should give you an idea how powerful this little machine is. If you plan to edit longer 10 minutes plus 4K videos and work on your thumbnails in Photoshop while the video is being exported, you might want to upgrade your RAM to 16GB. Actually, for any kind of video editing, just upgrade your RAM to 16GB and you will have a much smoother video editing experience. For anyone else, 8GB RAM variant would be sufficient. I can't speak for your storage needs, but for me, the 256GB base variant is plenty. As I said, I used the 2011 MacBook Air for 3+ years, and then I switched to the 2015 MacBook Pro, both of which just had 128GB of built-in storage. So I have always got used to having a workflow that revolves around external storage. Honestly, I have always felt that the money which Apple asks for upgrading the internal storage is just too much. I could easily get an extremely fast 2TB portable SSD at the same price, and that is what I normally do. Other than installing all of my apps on the internal storage, I barely have anything else stored on my laptop. This obviously means that I need to carry around an extra thing with me, and most of the times it is always attached to my laptop. But I have got used to it for the last 10+ years, so it doesn't even bother me anymore. Other than that, everything is just sunshines with this laptop. My primary use is obviously editing videos, but other than that, this is also my main personal computer. Up until 15 days back, this was literally the only computer which I own. That should give you a fairly good idea of how versatile this MacBook Air is. If I knew it from the start that I was going to end up using it as my main computer for over 18 months, I would have definitely picked the 16GB RAM variant, and the one extra GPU core would have also helped a bit with my video editing. But if I was getting it for anything other than editing videos, I would have still gone with the base 8GB RAM variant. This variant is more than capable of handling most of the things that any average user can throw at it. And it is the most value for money laptop that you can get right now. Not the most value for money Mac, but the most value for money laptop given its performance, battery and longevity. Just to check how much load this little machine could handle, I stacked 4 streams of 10-bit 4:2 4K 120fps video files from Sony a7S III on top of each other in Final Cut Pro. When I did that, the playback was extremely choppy, and after a few seconds the MacBook Air just stopped responding. And the only way to make it work again was to perform a hard reset. But you don't have to worry about it, as any normal user getting this laptop won't be putting it under this kind of stress, and I just did this to see the limits of this machine. Let's face it, putting these many 10-bit 4K 120fps slow motion files on top of each other might even bring the most powerful computer to its knees, and this is just the base variant of the M1 MacBook Air. It however had no issues running 2 streams of same video file even with a heavy color grade applied on top. I don't know if there are too many computers in this price range which can actually handle this kind of task while running on battery power. I feel the 2 USB-C ports are a bit limiting. Since I went with a 256GB storage variant, I need to keep an external drive attached every time I want to edit videos, which leaves just one USB-C port available. And if I want to transfer the footage from my camera to one of the SD cards and charge the laptop at the same time while I am editing videos, then I have no other way than to use a third-party dongle for that. Another USB-C port on the other side, or a MagSafe connector for charging like on the newer MacBook Air with M2 processor would have been so much more convenient. Speaking of the M2 MacBook Air, the M2 processor is just a modest update over the M1 in this MacBook Air. With all of the throttling and the storage speed issues that surround the newer MacBook Air, it doesn't really feel like a worthy upgrade. especially when the asking price is 20,000 rupees more than this M1 MacBook Air. The new design might be a right move to make it feel more like a member of Apple's current design language, but a newer generation MacBook Air, which actually costs more money, shouldn't have come with a slower SSD for the base variant, which actually results in reduced overall performance for sustained load tasks. Personally, I don't feel like the newer design, slightly faster processor, slower SSD, more heat, and similar battery life is worth the 20,000 rupees that Apple is asking for. I'm not saying that the M2 MacBook Air is not good. It's just that the base variant of this M1 MacBook Air is a much better value for money for most of the normal users than the base variant of the M2 MacBook Air, which seems to be crippled by Apple itself. Doesn't matter what you do, I think this M1 MacBook Air is the perfect laptop for everyone. According to Apple, MacBook Air is their highest selling laptop, and I could see why. If you get such amazing performance from an entry-level machine, it is hard to suggest people to go for more powerful MacBook Pros. I mean, unless your workflow specifically demands for more powerful internals. The only thing that you might feel a bit limited by is the number of ports. If you're someone who needs a couple of more USB-C ports or a card reader, then you will have to buy a separate adapter for it. Other than that, there is barely anything to complain about on this machine. If you're planning on getting this M1 MacBook Air, make sure to check out the online and offline stores as well. Chances are you might get it at a good discount. That is it for this video, guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for a lot more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.